With Nyck De Vries officially racing on the grid next season with AlphaTauri, Mercedes have yet to find a replacement for Nyck for their third driver next season. And while both George and Lewis still have a number of years on their contract with Mercedes, yes, I'm including Lewis, it would be idiotic not to at this point. Having one foot in as a fully fledged driver for Mercedes is an opportunity most would find appealing. But then again, Mercedes would have the final say who they sign for next year. So who is the team eyeing for the role? And does his name rhyme with Schumacher? Well then, let's talk about it. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. Since Nyck's contract with AlphaTauri was official, both Mick Schumacher and Daniel Ricciardo were the clear favorites to take the vacant seat at Mercedes. And while Toto has praised Daniel in the past and said that the team was on the brink of signing the Australian as a replacement for Valtteri Bottas, Toto would recently reveal that Schumacher's future lies with Mercedes. But what about Mick's chances to stay with Haas, you may ask? Well, according to various sources, it is highly likely that Schumacher's days with Haas are done and that the team is preparing to announce Nico Hülkenberg's activation as a driver. It is also believed that Haas will formally announce the decision this Wednesday, with team boss Günther Steiner spending his Tuesday ironing out the finer details of the team's contract with Nico before they sign on the dotted line. Hopefully next week we can announce something, whatever we're doing, said Steiner. It's my objective, but I don't promise it. We want to have the driver in that drives next year in the Abu Dhabi test. That's the only thing we want to do. The rest is, we try to make the best decision we can, and time helps to make good decisions. We've done a lot of things. We've done a lot of analysis, what we have done this year, how we can improve the team, that is not down to one race, as a lot of people say, even if it's a fantastic race here. We just think about midterm, not just short term. Short term was a few years ago. This decision elicited mixed reactions from former F1 drivers/legends. On the one hand, Rubens Barrichello thinks that Nico will be a good fit with Haas. Honestly, Hulk is a really good driver for me, he said on Sky Sports' Any Driven Monday. He impressed me more than anything else, not just from the times we were together at Williams. He was called last minute for Silverstone, and when you're not driving in Formula 1, even though you go to the gym and you keep fit and so on, it's not easy. I mean, the cars now, the G-forces and everything, they're tough, and he jumped into the car and he was extremely fast. So, although I have a lot of sympathy for Mick, and I really hope he gets his chance still in a competitive car, Hulk is a driver that deserves to be back. He's still young, and if he has the will, I think he will deliver. And on the other hand, Ralf Schumacher would come to the defense of Mick and say, "I see it as difficult for Haas to choose Mick," he told Sky Deutschland. Otherwise, they would have done it long ago. I think the interaction in the team and the openness of Günther Steiner, I'll call it that politely, doesn't necessarily speak positively. Mick has shown that there is potential, but no matter what he did, the team and Günther Steiner were never satisfied with it. This behavior cannot be explained with normal standards. It almost has to be something personal. I believe that Günther Steiner cannot deal with the fact that someone else is the focus at Haas. He's very happy to be the one front and center. Ralf would then continue on and critique Steiner's management of his nephew, saying, "You can't call it personnel management. You have to motivate your employees. He's under constant pressure not to make any mistakes. Otherwise, he can't continue to work for Haas. When you're under that kind of pressure, you can't drive freely." Now, this leaves Mick free as a bird, as the German driver has also decided to leave the Ferrari driver's stable. This now leaves him with Williams as the only viable option for him should he want a more active role next season. But even Williams has a driver in Logan Sargent penciled in to drive for them next season, which depends on him bagging enough points necessary to get a super license for next season. Which then puts Mick in the same boat as Daniel, who too is looking for reserve driver role for next season. And according to Auto, Motor und Sport, Mercedes is favoring Daniel over Mick. But should Daniel choose to go back to his roots, Mercedes would be happy to sign Mick back to the team. Mercedes' team boss Toto Wolff would recently be asked about these rumors, to which he would reply with, I don't know what the status is with Mick and Haas, but I make no secret of the fact that the Schumacher family belongs to Mercedes, and that we value Mick very much. But first of all, he continued, it should be about Mick getting a regular cockpit. With so much doubt about Mick's future, many of the media, including former F1 chief Bernie Ecclestone, have chimed in and say that this may be the universe's sign to Mick to take his talents elsewhere. Maybe he needs to forget F1 and focus on other motorsport series, said Ecclestone. His name is his biggest burden, but he's trying to live up to it as best he can, and that's what brings him all the problems. That's why he should forget about it and win in another category. Mick would not play deaf to this statement from Ecclestone and bite back and say, "My plan is to keep going. It's hard to forget Formula One. I love it too much, so I won't do that," he said in Brazil. "Everyone always has an opinion on everything. I care about the opinions of the people I care about. Of course, my family and a few other people from Formula One. For example, Sebastian Vettel. Those are the opinions that matter to me." But with all that being said, Mick's future will ultimately be decided by Daniel Ricciardo's decision to choose or not to choose signing with Mercedes. And as of late, Daniel has continually denied that his deal with Red Bull is a done deal. Not really. There's nothing yet close or confirmed or anything. I could make something up, but nothing new to tell you. Look, as I've said before, I have nothing to hide. If something was done, trust me, I'd be saying it. So there's nothing holding that back. Red Bull's head of driver development, Helmut Marko, would confirm in Brazil that the team is indeed in discussions with Daniel, but would insist that the talks are only about a reserve role next season and nothing further than that. "We are in talks with Ricciardo, but that's primarily the function of a reserve driver, simulator driver, and various promotional appearances without us making a fixed commitment regarding a racing cockpit." McLaren's team boss, Andreas Seidel, would also stick McLaren's name into the bowl of possibilities for Daniel, as he would say to the media, "That's a discussion we didn't have yet," said Seidel. "It's a discussion we would usually have in the winter. As you know as well, we have an agreement in place with other teams as well in order to share reserve drivers. Again, there is absolutely no hard or bad feelings between Daniel and us, and therefore, anything is possible. It is clear that with Daniel leaving the team, we are losing not just a great driver, but also a great personality, and he will be deeply missed in the team. That is why we're both committed to making sure that in these last races we are doing together, that we are still trying to put in some good performances in order to finish our journey together on a high. I don't want to go into any speculation of what he is doing next, but in the end, whatever he is doing next, wherever he is a driver next, that's exactly what his next team or employer will get. A great driver and a great personality. And there you have it, guys. So where do you want Mick to land for next season? What about Daniel? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.